we must note that today, one of these areas I found very shocking. You know, when I said I have not been interested in so many things because I'm so disappointed, but I decided that, look, let me go through the Electoral Act. And I found that whereas the last intervention we had here, we're discussing about section 60, subsection 3, where they provided a proviso that will undermine the 2027 official elections. I have now found a more dangerous 3 provisions, and I put them out so that I think that Nigerians can read it, they can see it before any comment. First, let's go to section 63. Now, section 63, which I just discovered, they have now reintroduced something very terrible. You can see it there. That ballot paper that will be used for the 2027 election, that does not bear the official security features of INEC, should be accepted by presiding officer. You can read it there. That where the returning officer satisfied, the word satisfied, that was contained in section 49 of the 2010 Act that took us 20 years until 2022 to remove, because what is the objective condition to determine what satisfies a presiding officer? A presiding officer has now been given the discretion to now accept ballot paper, notwithstanding the absence of the official mark, and to count that ballot paper. What that means is that before this election, politicians who now have access to the the security features of INEC ballot, they are going to produce their ballot papers.
They're going to print their own
They are going to print their own ballot paper that have to be accepted. This is dangerous, as put in the Electoral Act. Similarly, may I show section 138? No, 138. Let's go to section 138. Section 138 has been one of the rigging provisions that we have cried out to be removed. As a matter of fact, you remember that in 2019, in this current republic, under Buhari was the only time that there was no Electoral Act passed. Because when we made that recommendation that this thing should be removed, this section should be removed, you remember that it was rejected. And what the section says, grant of final petition. It says that an act or omission which may be contrary to the instruction or directive of the commission or of an officer appointed for the purpose of election, but which is not contrary to the provision of this act, shall not of itself be a ground for questioning the election. May I make a few observations here? You see, when you want to deceive people, you put it in words. Bring that section back again. What they basically said, they were just short of referring to INEC regulations and guidelines, because the instruction and directive of INEC are contained in INEC regulation and guideline. They are saying that a presiding officer, an assistant presiding officer, a collation officer, a returning officer, they can abandon it. So they provided immunity there without revealing. Then let's go to the last section. It will interest Nigerians to know that section 137 now says that all those categories of individuals, I think the other time I provided you what we call a pyramid. All the categories that we have just mentioned, presiding officer, returning officers, it says that where the petition, that's anybody go to petition now, to go to file a petition, complains of the conduct of an electoral officer, a presiding officer, returning officer, it shall not be necessary to join such officer. That is those who have disobeyed to follow INEC instruction and guidelines, that it shall not be necessary to bring them to the commission. That was why, you remember in 2019, in 2023 and previous elections, you find that because INEC has been joined, you are saying that the people who rig election, presiding officer who actually were the maker of the document, you said because you have joined INEC as a respondent, it shall not be necessary to bring them to the tribunal.